The night was quiet, too quiet for the small town of Clearwater. The moon hung low and a cold wind moved through the empty streets. Ethan, a young mechanic, walked home from his late shift. His hands were greasy, his clothes dirty, but his mind was clear. He always liked the silence after midnight. It was peaceful. Then the sky broke. A flash of red light tore across the stars like a burning wound. The ground shook. Birds screamed and flew from the forest. The air smelled like metal and smoke. Ethan looked up, frozen in shock, as something bright and fast crashed beyond the hills. A ship? A meteor? He didn't know. But his heart was racing. Without thinking, he grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the forest. The trees whispered as he ran. The wind carried a strange sound, a soft voice almost crying. When he reached the crash site, his breath stopped. A huge silver shape lay broken among the trees. It was smooth, shining with strange red symbols that glowed and faded like a heartbeat. Sparks jumped from the metal and steam rose into the cold air. Ethan stepped closer. Then he saw her. A girl was lying on the ground near the wreck. Her long silver hair shimmered even in the darkness. Her skin was pale like moonlight and her eyes, red, glowing like fire, opened slowly. She looked at him. "Don't come closer," she whispered, her voice soft but cold. Ethan froze. He could see blood on her lips, dark, not human. "I just want to help," he said quietly. She smiled, a small, strange smile. "Help? You don't know what I am, human." Before Ethan could speak, a beam of light swept through the forest. Voices shouted in a language he didn't understand. Men in black suits appeared, holding strange weapons that hummed with blue energy. "Search the area. The princess must not escape." One of them shouted, "Princess?" Ethan hid behind a tree, his heart pounding. The girl's eyes glowed brighter. She looked weak but angry. They fired at her. Red energy exploded from her hand, throwing them back like toys. Trees burned, the air shook. She moved so fast Ethan could barely see her. When the fight ended, the soldiers were gone, burned shadows in the dirt. The forest was silent again. Smoke rose from the ground. Ethan stepped out slowly. The girl stood there, shaking. Her eyes met his again. You are not afraid?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "I should be," he said. "But I'm not." She walked closer. The air felt heavy, charged with power. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You have a strong heart, human. Too strong." It called to me. "What are you talking about?" Ethan asked. She reached out and touched his chest with a cold hand. "Your blood. It sings to me. I cannot leave without it." Before Ethan could move, she leaned closer, her breath warm on his neck. Then she stopped suddenly, her eyes softening with pain. "They will come again," she whispered. "If they find you, they will use you to find me. Stay away." She stepped back. Her body began to glow with red light. Ethan reached out, shouting, "Wait! Who are you?" The girl smiled faintly. "Princess Lyra of the Crimson Moon," she said. "And you, human, you are mine." In a flash of light, she vanished, like dust in the wind. The forest went dark. Ethan looked around, confused and trembling. Then he saw something on the ground. Letters glowing red burned into the dirt. It was his name, Ethan. He fell to his knees, his breath shaking. The night was silent again, but nothing felt the same. Somewhere above the clouds, far beyond the stars, a voice whispered through his mind, "I will return for you." 3 nights had passed since the crash, but Ethan still couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her, the silver-haired girl with red eyes and a voice that echoed in his mind. "I will return for you." Her words haunted him. His heart felt heavy, his body weak, and something strange was happening inside him. His veins glowed faintly under the skin, like thin red lines of fire. He tried to ignore it. He told himself it was stress or fear. But one evening, while washing his hands, he saw his reflection blink, even though he hadn't. The mirror moved before he did. Then he heard her voice again, soft and near. "Ethan, can you hear me?" He stumbled back, heart racing. "Lyra!" he whispered. "Yes," the voice answered inside his head. "They are searching for you. You must hide. Who are they?" he asked, his voice shaking. "What do they want from me?" "They want what I left inside you," she said. "Your blood is no longer human." Before Ethan could respond, there was a loud knock on the door. "Open up." "This is the National Security Division." Ethan's blood turned cold. He barely had time to react before men in black armor burst through the door. They grabbed him, pinned him to the ground, and injected something into his neck. The world spun and went black. When Ethan woke up, he was in a bright white room. Machines hummed softly. A scientist in a gray coat stood beside him typing notes. "Where am I?" Ethan asked weakly. The man didn't answer at first. He turned and looked at Ethan with curious eyes. "You survived contact with the alien," he said. "Remarkable. Your blood, it's rewriting itself." Ethan frowned. "Rewriting?" The man held up a small vial filled with red liquid that glowed faintly. "You are evolving, Mr. Ethan. You carry what we call the blood code, alien DNA that can merge with human cells. We believe it's a weapon." "I'm not a weapon," Ethan snapped. The scientist smirked. "That's not for you to decide." He turned away, pressing a button. A door opened and 2 guards entered carrying strange devices. They connected wires to Ethan's arms. Pain shot through his body. Hot, sharp, endless. His heart pounded like thunder, then he heard her again. "Ethan!" Lyra's voice screamed in his head. "They are hurting you." "I'm coming!" The lights flickered. The guards looked around nervously. "What's happening?" one shouted. Suddenly the alarm blared. The walls shook as if something massive had hit the building. Boom! The door exploded inward. And there she was, Princess Lyra. Her eyes glowed bright crimson, her silver hair floating in the air like fire. Before anyone could shoot, she moved, and faster than light, faster than thought. The guards dropped, lifeless, their weapons melting. The scientist backed away. "Impossible," he whispered. "You should be dead." Lyra looked at him coldly. "You should not have touched what is mine." Then she turned to Ethan, who was still strapped to the chair. She placed her hand on his chest and the wires snapped off like paper. He gasped as the pain faded. "You came back," he said, her voice softened. "I told you I would." Ethan looked into her glowing eyes. "What did you do to me?" Lyra paused, then whispered, "I saved you. But my blood changed you. Now they will never stop hunting you. You are part of me." She reached for his hand. "Come, I will protect you." He hesitated only for a moment, then took her hand. The air shimmered around them as she activated a small crystal device. The white room dissolved into red light. When the light faded, Ethan found himself standing inside a strange metal hall filled with glowing symbols and dark glass windows showing stars outside. It wasn't Earth anymore. "Where are we?" he asked. Lyra turned to him, her expression proud but sad. "You are aboard my ship, the Crimson Star. From now on, Ethan, your life will never be the same." Before he could answer, the ship's alarm began to beep. A robotic voice said, "Warning, Galactic hunters approaching. Prepare for battle." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "They followed us," she said. Ethan felt his blood burn again, red light pulsing under his skin. "What's happening to me?" He gasped. Lyra looked at him with both fear and admiration. "The blood code," she whispered. "It's waking up inside you." Outside, stars flashed as enemy ships surrounded them. The Crimson Star trembled. Lyra stepped forward, her fangs showing. "Stay close to me, Ethan," she said softly. "Because from this moment on, the universe will hunt us both." The ship shook so hard that Ethan nearly fell. Red lights flashed across the walls. Outside the window, hundreds of silver ships were closing in, glowing like angry stars. "Who are they?" Ethan shouted over the noise. Lyra's eyes glowed crimson as she gripped the control panel. "Galactic hunters. They are soldiers from my father's empire. They track anything with my blood. And now that includes you." "Me?" Ethan's voice broke. "Why me?" "Because," she said quietly, "your blood carries the vampire code now. You are the only human in the galaxy who has it." The ship's systems screamed again. A laser beam shot past, shaking the metal floor. Ethan covered his head as sparks fell around him. Lyra pressed a crystal key into the console. "Hold tight." The Crimson Star shot forward, breaking through the enemy line. Stars blurred into white streaks. The view outside turned into a river of light. Ethan gasped. It felt like falling through a dream. Then everything went silent. Ethan looked around. "What just happened?" Lyra leaned back in her chair, breathing hard. "We jumped into subspace. They can't find us here for a while." Her face looked pale, almost too pale. Ethan noticed her hands shaking. "You're hurt," he said. She tried to smile. "I'm fine." But she wasn't. He saw a thin line of dark blood on her neck, slowly glowing red. Without thinking, he moved closer. "You need help." Her eyes flicked toward him, soft but sharp. "Human, you shouldn't come closer." My kind. When weak, we crave blood, he froze. Then take mine, he said quietly. Lyra blinked, surprised. Do you even understand what that means? I don't care, he said. You saved me. Now let me save you. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she reached out, her fingers brushing his wrist. You're brave. Foolishly brave. Her lips touched his skin, and a sharp sting followed. Ethan felt heat spreading through his body. His heartbeat slowed, then matched hers, like two drums beating together. When she pulled back, her eyes glowed brighter. You did something no human should do, she whispered. Now our bond is sealed deeper than before. He didn't know what she meant, but his heart felt strange. Heavy, alive, connected. Lyra turned back to the controls. We need to reach the dark belt. There's a hidden base there. Maybe we can rest. Ethan looked through the window. Space stretched forever, filled with stars and shadows. You really are from another world, he said softly. Lyra smiled faintly. Another galaxy, human. My people ruled the night skies long before Earth built its first light. Ethan frowned. Then why are they hunting you? Her face darkened. Because I refused to obey. My father wanted to use my blood to create a weapon that could control minds. I escaped before they could take it from me. Ethan leaned forward. And now that blood is inside me? Yes. She looked at him with quiet sadness. You carry something both powerful and dangerous. They will stop at nothing to capture you. Before he could reply, the ship began to shake again. The alarm screamed. Impossible, Lyra hissed. They found us already. A hunter ship appeared out of the light stream, firing plasma bolts. The Crimson Star spun violently. Can you fly? She shouted. Me? Ethan grabbed the nearest handle. I don't even know how this thing works. Lyra slammed a glowing chip into his palm. Now you do. It's connected to your mind, just think. Ethan stared at the control screen. It flashed symbols he didn't understand. Yet somehow his instincts did. He placed his hands on the glowing handles and the ship responded like it was alive. He turned sharply, dodging another plasma blast. It's like the ship knows what I want. Lyra smiled. It's responding to your blood. You're linked to it now. A massive explosion lit the darkness. The hunter ship spun out of control. Ethan guided the Crimson Star through the debris. When the danger passed, both of them were breathing hard. Silence filled the cabin again. Lyra looked at him. Different this time. Not as a human, but as something more. You just piloted a vampire royal ship, she said softly. No human has ever done that. Ethan looked down at his hands, still glowing faintly. I don't feel human anymore. Lyra reached over and touched his chest. Maybe that's because you're not. My blood and yours, they're becoming one. He looked up, meeting her red eyes. So what happens now? Lyra turned to the stars ahead, her voice calm but full of warning. Now, Ethan, we run, because the universe has just learned your name. The Crimson Star drifted silently through the cold black of space. Only the faint hum of its engines broke the stillness. Inside, Ethan stood near the wide glass window, watching distant stars shimmer like frozen sparks. They had escaped the hunters, but peace never felt real. Not with Lyra nearby, too beautiful, too powerful, too impossible. She was sitting on the floor beside a glowing crystal, her eyes half closed. The light painted her pale face with silver, but Ethan could see it. Her hands trembled, her breath shallow. You're weak again, he said quietly. Lyra opened her eyes slowly. I'm fine, he frowned. You always say that, but every time you save me, you lose more of your strength. A soft smile touched her lips. That's what happens when a vampire shares her energy with a human. I gave you power, Ethan. It takes time to recover. Ethan crouched down beside her. Then take it back, her eyes flashed. No. He looked at her seriously. If my blood can heal you, then take it. I won't watch you die. For a long moment, she said nothing. Only the low hum of the ship filled the air. Then she whispered, You don't understand what you're offering. Then make me understand. Lyra stared into his eyes. If I drink from you again, it will bind us forever. You won't just feel my thoughts, you'll share them. You'll become part of me. My pain, my hunger, my darkness. Ethan didn't look away, then let it happen. Her lips parted slightly, surprise flickering in her crimson eyes. Why? Because, he said softly, you're the only one who ever risked everything for me. Lyra's hand trembled as she touched his cheek. You're a fool, human. Maybe, he said, but I'm your fool. For a heartbeat, the universe seemed to stop. Then she leaned closer. Her fangs touched his neck. A sharp sting followed, cold, electric, alive. Ethan gasped as warmth flooded his body. His heart slowed, then beat in rhythm with hers. Red light glowed under his skin. Around them, the ship's crystals brightened, responding to the energy they shared. When Lyra pulled away, her eyes shimmered softly. It's done, she whispered. The bond is complete. Ethan touched his neck. I can feel you, he said. In my mind, Lyra nodded. And I can feel you. Her voice trembled. You are inside my thoughts, my hunger, my heart. Before they could say more, the ship's alarm broke the silence. Warning, incoming transmission. Lyra stood quickly and pressed a glowing panel. A hologram flickered into the air, an older man with red eyes and a crown of dark metal. Father, Lyra whispered. The man's voice filled the room, deep and cruel. Princess Lyra of the Crimson Moon, you have shamed our blood. Return now or be hunted as an enemy of the Empire. Lyra straightened. You turned our people into slaves. I will never return to you. The king's eyes narrowed. And the human? You would taint our royal blood for him? Ethan stepped forward, anger rising. She's not your property. The king laughed darkly. Bold words, human. Do you even know what she truly is? She feeds on life itself. When her hunger grows, she will take yours too. Lyra shouted, Enough! The hologram crackled and vanished. She stood there shaking with rage. Ethan touched her arm gently. Lyra, what if he's right? She turned sharply, eyes burning. He's not. I will never hurt you. Ethan believed her, but he also saw the fear behind her words. That night, while she rested, Ethan walked quietly through the ship. The stars outside looked peaceful, but inside he felt a storm. His thoughts were mixed with hers, her memories bleeding into his mind. He saw flashes of a dark palace under twin moons. A younger Lyra chained by her father, forced to drain prisoners to survive. He saw her crying in silence, her red eyes full of pain. Then he heard her voice again, soft in his head. You see now why I ran? I didn't want to be a monster, Ethan whispered. You're not a monster. But before he could say more, the ship jolted violently. The lights flickered red. Lyra appeared behind him, her hair glowing in the dark. They found us again, she said. My father sent his elite hunters. They won't stop this time. The alarm screamed louder. Explosions shook the ship. Ethan grabbed the controls. What do we do? Lyra looked at him, her voice cold but steady. We fight together. Her eyes met his, the red light of their bond glowing between them. And as the crimson star dove into the storm of enemy fire, one truth burned in both their minds. They were no longer just vampire and human. They were one. The crimson star drifted near the blue glow of Earth. It had been weeks since Ethan last saw his home. Now it looked different. Beautiful but distant, almost like it didn't belong to him anymore. Lyra stood beside him, watching silently. You miss it, she said softly. Ethan nodded. It's where I was born, but now I'm not sure if I still belong there. Lyra's red eyes dimmed with sadness. The bond changed you. You're not fully human anymore. He looked at her. And you're not the monster they think you are. Before she could answer, a loud beep filled the control room. The ship's radar blinked red, multiple signals approaching fast. Lyra's expression hardened. Humans, she said. They've found us. Moments later, a human fleet appeared, their ships forming a steel wall across space. A voice crackled through the speakers. Unidentified vessel, this is General Harris of the Earth Defense Command. Lower your shields and surrender. Ethan's chest tightened. General Harris? I know that name. He was a hero during the Mars Rebellion. Lyra looked at him. Your people will not see you as a hero now, Ethan. You carry alien blood. To them, you're one of us. The voice came again, sharper this time. Surrender the alien and the infected human. You are considered a threat to all mankind. Ethan froze. They know about me. Lyra's hand brushed his shoulder. We can run. He shook his head. No, I can't keep running from my own world. Lyra's eyes darkened. Then you'll die with it. Before he could reply, blue energy bolts struck the ship. The crimson star spun violently. Warning lights screamed, shields down to 40%. Lyra shouted, can we talk to them? Ethan yelled. Lyra nodded reluctantly and opened a communication channel. Ethan stepped forward, facing the hologram that flickered before them. General Harris appeared, gray hair, cold eyes. "Ethan Cole," he said flatly. "You're under arrest for collaboration with an alien empire." Ethan clenched his fists. "You don't understand. She saved me. The empire is the real threat, not her." Harris's voice dripped with anger. "She's a vampire, boy. They drain worlds dry. You've been turned into one of them." Ethan shook his head. "No, I still feel human." Lyra stepped beside him. "If you attack us, you'll start a war your planet cannot win," Harris glared. "It already started when you landed on Earth." The hologram vanished. Seconds later, human ships opened fire again. Ethan's heart pounded. "Lyra, please, don't kill them." Lyra's eyes glowed fiercely. "They'll destroy us!" "Then I'll stop them," he shouted. She turned, shocked. "What are you saying?" Ethan pressed his hand to the control crystal. The red light under his skin pulsed brighter. The ship responded instantly, linking with his thoughts. Energy burst from the crimson star, not as a weapon, but as a wave of red light that disabled the human ships one by one. Engines shut down, weapons froze, systems went dark. Lyra stared at him in awe. "You used my power, but controlled it." Ethan's breathing was heavy. "I didn't want to kill them. I just wanted them to stop." For a moment, silence filled the ship. Then, without warning, another beam hit them, stronger, sharper. The hull cracked. "The ship spun. Another fleet!" Lyra shouted. "They brought reinforcements!" Ethan grabbed the nearest lever. "We can't fight them all." Lyra nodded grimly. "There's only one place left to go, the Shadow Rift." "The what?" "It's a dead zone between galaxies. No one dares to enter, but they won't follow us there." Ethan didn't have time to argue. "Then take us in." The crimson star roared forward. Behind them, Earth's fleet chased, firing endless energy bolts. The stars blurred into streaks of blue and white as the ship dove into the rift, a region of swirling black storms and red lightning. The ship shook violently. Systems flickered. Lyra gripped the console, her voice trembling. "Ethan, if we lose power here, we'll vanish forever." He looked at her, their bond glowing faintly through the chaos. "If I'm with you, I don't care where we end up." For a moment, everything went still, the rift's storm frozen in red light. Lyra looked at him, truly seeing him for the first time. "You really would die for me," she whispered. Ethan smiled weakly. "Maybe not die. Maybe live for you." Outside, the storm cracked open like a doorway. The crimson star vanished into the darkness, leaving the human fleet behind. Inside the silent void, Lyra touched her chest, feeling his heartbeat echo through her own. "You're not just mine anymore, Ethan," she whispered. "You're part of the war now." And somewhere far behind the stars, King Vorak, her father, watched their escape through crimson screens, his voice cold as ice. "Let them run," he said. "When the human finally turns, he'll bring her back to me." The crimson star floated in the dark emptiness of the Shadow Rift, where time felt slower and stars looked like frozen tears. Ethan stood near the glass window, watching red lightning crawl across the void. The silence felt heavy, the kind that carried fear. Lyra was at the control deck scanning a hologram full of moving red lines. Her voice was low. "The humans didn't follow us, but my father will." Ethan looked at her. "How does he always find us?" Lyra turned, her silver hair falling across her face. "Because I am his blood. Wherever I go, he can sense it. The bond between us is ancient. It can only be broken if one of us dies." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then I'll stop him before that happens." She smiled sadly. "You would challenge the king of the Crimson Empire, for me?" He met her eyes. "I'd challenge the universe." For the first time, Lyra's cold royal mask cracked. "You really mean it, don't you?" she whispered. Before Ethan could answer, the ship's alarms blared. The screens flashed red. Incoming armada detected. Lyra's eyes widened. "He's here." Outside the window, the black void cracked open like glass. Dozens, no, hundreds, of red ships emerged from the rift. Their engines burned like suns, and at the center of the fleet hovered a monstrous ship the size of a city, the Blood Throne. Ethan felt his blood burn inside him, reacting to the presence of Lyra's father. "He's calling to me," he said, clutching his chest. "I can feel it." Lyra reached for him. "Don't listen. His voice can control weaker minds." But the voice already filled Ethan's thoughts. Deep, smooth, cruel, Son of Earth, you carry my daughter's curse. Give yourself to me and I will spare your world, Ethan shouted. Never! Lyra gripped his arm. He wants your blood, Ethan. It's the key to a weapon he created, a weapon that can erase entire civilizations. Then we stop him. Together. Lyra stared into his glowing eyes. If you use the power inside you, it might kill you. Ethan smiled faintly. Then I'll die with purpose. She hesitated, then nodded. Then let the Crimson War begin. Outside, the stars exploded into chaos. Red and blue ships collided, filling space with fire. Laser beams crossed like burning rain. The Crimson Star darted through enemy lines, faster than human eyes could follow. Lyra's hands moved across the controls, summoning waves of energy that shattered enemy ships. Ethan stood beside her, eyes glowing red with the same light as hers. The ship moved with his thoughts alive through their bond. Left flank incoming. Lyra shouted, I see them! Ethan yelled back. His hand glowed and the ship's cannons fired automatically, blasting through the enemy formation. For a moment, they fought like one heartbeat, two souls sharing one fire. But then the blood throne opened its core. A red beam as wide as a mountain formed, humming with deadly power. Lyra's face turned pale. He's going to fire the Crimson Core. If it hits us, everything in this rift will die. Ethan's voice hardened. We have to stop it. Lyra looked at him desperately. The only way is through me. I can overload the weapon from inside, but I won't survive. Ethan grabbed her hand. No, we find another way. She shook her head. There isn't one. Tears glimmered in her red eyes. Ethan, if I die, take my power. Promise me you'll finish this. I can't lose you, he whispered. You already found me once in the stars, she said with a trembling smile. You'll find me again. Before he could stop her, she placed a small crimson crystal in his palm, warm, pulsing with her heartbeat. Then she turned and stepped into the energy chamber. Lyra, Ethan shouted. She looked back one last time. Remember what I told you, Ethan. The universe may hate us, but love can still burn brighter than war. The door closed. A blinding light filled the ship. Outside, the Crimson Core exploded like a dying star. Every ship in the rift shattered, their energy torn apart by the blast. When the light faded, the Crimson Star floated in silence, damaged, burning, but alive. Ethan lay on the floor, clutching the glowing crystal. Her voice whispered faintly inside his mind. You kept your promise. Now live. He looked out at the fading red light across the stars. I will, he whispered. For you. But as the silence settled, a new voice echoed in his head, deeper, darker. The blood bond is complete. And the war is not over. Ethan's eyes flared crimson. The mark on his hand, Lyra's symbol, began to burn. The universe had lost its princess but gained something far more dangerous. A human with vampire blood. And a reason to fight. The galaxy was quiet again. The Great War had ended, leaving behind only silence and drifting metal ruins. Among them floated a single small ship, the Crimson Star, scarred but still alive. Inside, Ethan sat alone, surrounded by flickering red lights and broken controls. Lyra was gone. The bond that once burned between them was faint now, like an echo of a dream. For days, maybe weeks, he wandered through space, searching for signals, listening for her voice. But there was nothing, just the hum of the engines and the slow heartbeat of the ship. Sometimes, when he closed his eyes, he saw her face, pale, calm, and beautiful. He remembered her last words. Love can still burn brighter than war. He touched the crimson crystal that hung from his neck, the last piece of her. It glowed softly against his chest, pulsing in rhythm with his heart. Lyra, he whispered, I kept your promise. I'm still here, the ship suddenly shuddered. Lights flickered to life across the console. System anomaly detected, said the computer voice. Ethan frowned. What anomaly? A red light blinked on the monitor, deep in the ship's core. The crystal in his hand began to glow brighter, burning against his skin. Then he heard it. A voice, faint but real. Ethan, he froze. The sound was soft, trembling, real, but unmistakable. It was her. Lyra, he whispered, his throat tight. The voice came again, clearer now. Did you think death could separate us? The lights flared. The entire ship shook violently as if something was awakening. Ethan ran toward the energy chamber, the same one where Lyra had sacrificed herself. The chamber glowed with red lightning, swirling like a storm. Inside the energy field, a figure was forming, slowly, piece by piece, silver hair, pale skin, red eyes. Ethan's heart nearly stopped. It can't be. The light grew stronger until he had to shield his eyes. When it faded, she was standing there, alive. Lyra. Her body was surrounded by a soft crimson aura, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. She looked different, stronger, almost divine. Ethan took a shaky step forward. You came back, Lyra smiled faintly. You never stopped calling me. Your blood kept my soul alive. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I thought I lost you. She walked closer, her hand touching his face. You did, for a moment, but our bond was too strong. It pulled me back through the dark. Ethan closed his eyes, feeling her touch again. Real. Warm. Then he noticed something strange. Her reflection wasn't in the glass behind her. He looked at her, confused. You're different, Lyra nodded. I am no longer just a princess. I am what the universe made of me. Part vampire, part star, part of you. He touched her hand. Part of me. She smiled. Your blood changed when I marked you. When I died, it finished what began that night in the forest. We are one now, forever. Outside, the stars shifted. A soft red glow spread across the galaxy like dawn after endless night. Ethan looked through the window, speechless. What's happening? Lyra stepped beside him, her voice calm and powerful. The war ended, but the universe is broken. We can rebuild it, and together. Ethan looked at her, unsure. Rebuild it? We're just two people. Her red eyes glimmered. No, Ethan, we're more. You are the first of a new kind, human heart, vampire soul. You can bring balance where both races failed. He shook his head. I don't want power. I just want you. Lyra smiled softly. Then you already have everything. They stood together in the crimson light, the stars stretching endlessly ahead. Then a sudden voice broke through the silence. The ship's computer. New energy signatures detected. Unknown fleet approaching. Ethan's eyes widened. Hunters again? Lyra looked out the window, her face unreadable. No, something older. Something that woke when I returned. She turned to him, her eyes glowing like fire. The universe fears what we've become. Ethan smiled faintly. Then let it fear us. Lyra stepped close, her voice soft as a whisper. Whatever comes next, remember this. She pressed her hand against his heart. You were mine from the moment you looked into my eyes. And now, she leaned close, her lips inches from his ear. You'll be mine forever. The stars outside flared red as the crimson star rose higher into the unknown. Two hearts, one human, one vampire, now burned as one across the endless sky. And somewhere, far away, a new legend began. The story of the vampire princess and the human who defied the universe.